I want to talk to you a little bit about growing your own sweet potatoes. It's something that I tried a few years back. I did it for a few years and eventually stopped because it's quite hard here in Atlantic Canada to grow sweet potatoes. We don't have a long, hot summer, or it's not long enough. We have beautiful summers, but they're just not very long. So I did it for a few years, had good results the first couple years, maybe 40, 50 good sized sweet potatoes, but then it seemed that I was getting less and less each year, and finally I just stopped. I decided this year I want to try it again, and I want to try to start my sweet potatoes from scratch, from home. And this means starting the sweet potatoes from inside the house to create slips. So you don't plant sweet potatoes like you do regular potatoes. You can't just cut your potato and put it in the ground and it's going to grow. You need to have sweet potato slips, and these can be ordered online if you don't have any sweet potatoes available, but I find that they run quite expensive. So I was kind of looking online to see for the price, and I don't even think I can get them in Canada where I usually get them. I couldn't even find them, but I did find a site, and not even sure if they ship in Canada or not, but they were about $11 for 10 slips. So 10 slips would be like 10 potato plants. And then I think it was like $50 if you wanted like a larger quantity of 100. And when I did order some online in the past, they didn't always arrive in the best of conditions, and sometimes I ended up losing quite a bit. So I'm going to try them from scratch again this year. What I would do in the past is I would save some sweet potatoes from my harvest over winter, and then come this time of year again, I would start my slips from the potatoes that I had planted. These are not sweet potatoes that I planted myself. Mine were not really this big when they would come out. I bought these at the store. Now I'm not even sure if it's going to work with store-bought sweet potatoes, and I couldn't find organic. Because what sometimes they do in the stores is that they will put something on top of the sweet potato to prevent them from sprouting. So if that was done to these potatoes, I'm not even sure that it's going to work in creating slips, but I'm going to give them a try. And if it doesn't work, then maybe I will end up ordering some online and trying it that way. I'm going to try a couple different things as well in the spring, or almost summer, I guess, because I can't plant before June. To try to increase the yield, try to get bigger potatoes. I'm going to do some different things, try to keep the soil warmer, try to make maybe kind of like greenhouse effect to try to get sweet potatoes. One way to start your sweet potato slips is to take your sweet potato, take some toothpicks and put them through the sweet potato so that so the sweet potato stays suspended in the jar. And then you add water so that it's touching the vegetable, and you leave it this way, always making sure that it's in water, and eventually you will have some slips. So slips, I guess I haven't really explained what it looks like. It creates, like, it's not sprouts or roots. It creates actually like a little plant that comes out of your sweet potato, and then you break them off, put them in water, create roots, put them in soil. So it's a little bit of a process, but I find it's well worth it. This is not my preferred method because it's not how I got the best results. The way I prefer to do it is I take my potato and I cut it in half. It's very simple. I just cut it in half. And this way I find as well, I get 2 parts creating slips. Once I have all my sweet potatoes cut up, then I'll add some water to the bottom, and I just put them on my windowsill and just kind of watch to see what happens. Always making sure that there's a little bit of water in the bottom. I don't let it run dry. So we'll check back from time to time to see how these are coming along. So here it is, 3 weeks into the process. I was starting to doubt whether this was going to work or not, if my sweet potatoes was going to create slips, but I think if you look really closely, right there, I think it's starting to create one, so there may be hope yet. Stay tuned. 6 weeks into my sweet potato project, I'm starting to see some growth. So some of these sweet potatoes have started to create little, I guess I'm going to call them slips, but they're not quite slips yet, but they are coming along really great. I started to doubt that I would get some, but then I read that if they were from store-bought sweet potatoes, to give it some more time, and if you give it enough time, it will eventually work. And most of them have. These three have yet to create anything, but they weren't in the direct sunlight, whereas these were all in like direct sun, and I get a lot of sun in those windows, so I'm kind of moving things around now to see if I can get these going. I did, however, end up ordering some online, some slips online, because I started doing a little bit of research, and there was actually one product that was I think it's from Canada, and that they've been using in Eastern Canada here that have had good results, and the brand of the sweet potato is called Radiance. So I did decide to go ahead and order some of those as well. So I'm going to kind of do a mix, and hopefully if they do really well, I will save some of those sweet potatoes for next year to create slips from. So stay tuned. I will maybe do like a part 1 and part 2 and maybe a part 3, I don't know, to what do I do when these slips get to a certain height, what's the next steps after I've started getting these slips. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel so you get notifications when I've got new videos coming up. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for me, don't be shy, leave them in the comment section below. And check back again soon to see what other content I have coming up.